Good morning and welcome to the 2020 annual session. I'm your moderator, Owner Kadioglu. On behalf of the AAO, we welcome you to TAD Mechanics for Fixed Appliances and Aligners with Dr. Chris Chang, founder of Beethoven Orthodontic Center and Newton's A Inc. Dr. Chang joins us from Hsinchu, Taiwan. There are two tech items today. First, if you experience any technical problems during this presentation, click on the Request Support button below. We have a technical expert available to assist you. Second, in the upper right-hand corner, you can open the notes window and type your own notes during the presentation. If you'd like to take advantage of this feature, your notes will be emailed to you immediately after the session concludes. And lastly, to earn your CE, you must complete the evaluation once the session concludes. Evaluations, CE certificates, and transcripts are available from the Evaluations tab on the main conference page. With that, I will now turn it over to Dr. Chang. Dr. Chang.
Thank you. Good morning. So, you wanted to use school in your aligner cases? Do you? Good. That's what you should do, and that's what we're going to talk about today. This is Chris Chang from Taiwan. I am a member of Anglo Society. I practice in Taiwan. First and foremost, I would like to thank to President Gary Inman. Having to achieve such a huge logistical change in such a short time, in such difficult and trying times, highlights your professionalism and dedication. On behalf of all today's participants, a huge thanks to Dr. Gary Inman. You are a remarkable leader. We love you. Let's put our hand together. Did you hear that? That's for Gary. Okay. Special thanks also go to my chairman, Dr. OK, James Vaden, David Saber, who put together this program and the whole organizing committee. But don't forget about Marisa. Marisa sent numerous emails to me, trying to keep me under control. I hope you can make it today. Marisa, you did a wonderful job. We couldn't have done it without you. If you see this camera that indicates this slide is very important, I would strongly suggest you to get your iPhone ready. Take a photo. It will make your life much easier. About 5 years ago, my friend from Spain showed me a diagram to explain how he saw rotation. And I think that slide has a dramatic impact on my life. First, he talked about design and attachment to change the shape of canine from round shape to square shape, because round shape is hard to derotate. Once you change the shape, it's easier for a liner to grab the teeth. And then design the force to push the mesial out and push the distal in. Remember, it's a push. So a liner is good at push, but a liner may not be good for pulling. Dr. Diego, he's a genius. I really like this picture. So the first, we needed to know how to design attachment. Let me give you one example. If you open this closet, of course you can use your bare hand, but it could be quite inefficient. So people start to design some handle to help to open this door. But when you design a handle, please don't design like this because it is not efficient. We typically would design a handle like this to make sure that pushing surface is 90 degrees to the direction of tooth movement, it's much easier to push this door. So when you design the attachment in your aligner case, make sure you understand that attachment is trying to change the shape of the teeth to provide an efficient handle. So with that, we be able to build in a pushing surface, which is 90 degrees to the direction of tooth movement. So aligner is good for pushing. But in our patient, we not only need a pushing, but sometimes we need a pulling. For example, how do you solve this impacted second molar? Well, in order to upright this second molar, I think the reasonable approach will be put attachment, put a mini screw behind this tooth, and hook out this power chain. That can provide a pulling mechanism to bring this up. In other words, screw can provide the pulling. So if you know how to combine the aligner with screw, that can dramatically increase the efficiency in your practice. So today, I'm going to give you 3 major applications, just 3, no big deal, 3. The first one is non-extraction. When we do non-extraction, how do we find a space to line up the teeth? First, IPR. Second, expansion. Number 3, distalization. Number 4, flaring. Today, we only want to focus on distalization because that is what the mini screw come into play. For example, how do you distalize 6 millimeter upper with 2 millimeter midline op due to the functional shift? How do you do that? Well, we decide to push Q1 4 millimeter back, and when we correct the functional shift, we get the other 2 millimeter, so we solve the 6 millimeter molar discrepancy. And my question to you is, can you move all the upper dentition backwards with aligner only? Is that possible? The answer is, of course it's possible. Anything is possible. But it could be quite difficult to do that. Because when you move the teeth around, you always need to remind yourself, we have to follow Newton's law, number 3, action and reaction. So in order to move the whole dentition backward, we do need anchorage to do that. So in this case, that 6 millimeter molar discrepancy, we will do Q1 distalization 4 millimeter, class 2, 2 millimeter. And that's what we did. We used IZC screw to distalize the buccal segment, Q1, and we also use class 2 elastic to move the low dentition forward to correct the functional shift. And just 1 year, the canine become class 1. 15 months, sorry. We finished the first stage. The rest is just fine-tuned for additional alignment. So if you look at the occlusal view, you'll be able to appreciate to move the first molar and second molar is easy for aligner. But the problem is when you get into the middle part, which is premolar and frontal teeth, it becomes very difficult. And when you move the premolar backward, that's when the mini screw come into play. With the mini screw, it becomes so easy to distalize the premolar and the front teeth. So screw is the key. Wow, I love this screw. It becomes class 1. How about low dentition? Well, if you can solve the upper, lower is the same. It's the matter where you're going to put that mini screw. So again, to distalize the molar for the aligner is easy. It's okay. But the problem is when you're going to distalize the middle section, which is premolar and the incisor, where are you going to find the anchorage? Are you going to use the motor as the anchor? No, you just move the motor back and they tend to move forward. So you cannot use the motor as the anchorage. So the problem is premolar and frontal teeth. But with the mini screw, we can solve that problem. So in the mini screw, I almost always put the precision cut on the canine to hook out the elastic to our mini screw. And it's so easy to hook up the elastic. And remember, if you want to move the whole dentition backward, the screw has to be in an upright position outside the root. Outside the root is the key. If you don't put outside the root, how can you move the whole dentition backward? You cannot put between the root. Between the root, the mini screw will be in a way when you dislike the dentition backward. Of course, you also supplement with the class 2 elastic. And 4 months, please focus on the premolar area. With this buccal shear screw, it becomes quite easy to dislike, to solve this 6 millimeter low distalization. The best article that talk about the non-extraction cases happened to be this article. It was written by Brent Larson, our ex-president. Excellent article. Talk about the problem which associate with Invisalign in non-extraction cases. In this article, they point out that maxilla expansion is the other big issue. If you want to expand a lot, sometimes it's quite difficult to achieve that expansion. And that's the next topic we're going to talk about. How do you use aligner to expand the upper arch? When you expand the upper arch, normally you get a tipping, not body movement. The body movement may be just 36% based on the study. So basically, you get tipping movement. Why? Because aligner was grabbed on the crown. And when they push out from the buccal palatal side to the buccal side, and the side effect is you get hanging down palatal cast and obstruct with that. So the solution to that is, number one, you can add horizontal gingival bevel attachment. With this horizontal gingival bevel attachment, you prescribe an overcorrection, which is built in 6-degree buccal root top. With these two keys, then you produce a totally different mechanic. You push the crown out, and also in the gingival bevel, they receive the other pushing force that push the crown in. So at the end, you got more bodily movement, not tipping. Wow! So we learn 8 horizontal gingival bevel attachment and 8, number 2, a buccal root top can solve that problem. So every time I have maxilla impaction, I almost always add 5 millimeter horizontal gingival bevel with the pushing surface on the gingival surface. So it's easy to produce this moment. So my solution in lung extraction is, number 1, screw, number 2, power reach, number 3, attachment design, as I showed you earlier. Number 4, overcorrection, like a built-in 6-degree buccal root top, that sort of thing.